ZywOo is the best Counter-Strike player in the world right now, and I'm about to show you why. Let's take a look at every player's rating on T side and CT side at Pro League. Right at the top there, we actually have Jax, who put up a crazy 1.48 rating on T side. But he only played 6 maps in the group stage, so I think it's only fair we remove him. And when we do remove him, we get most of the usual suspects. Rops had great ratings on both sides. Shiro and Axile farmed the group stages and so had some fantastic stats. And Simple is up there as always. But then there's ZywOo, who's living over here with a 1.64 CT side rating and a 1.32 rating on T side. So let's dive into how he's done it. Let's dive into this pistol where ZywOo is given the P250. This first shot is just raw aim and reactions. Sorry, I can't teach you that. But then ZywOo uses this pillar as cover to its maximum. First peeking with his teammate in the post plant, and then sliding to the right where his head height changes to make it as hard as possible for Rops to hit this quick headshot, which is especially important in pistol rounds where you really have to hit the headshot. And ZywOo is a master of making himself hard to hit like this. ZywOo's often known as a mid or late round player, but here, as his 2 entry players go down early, he realizes he has to take space and get this trade or the round is done, and so hunts down Twist nicely with the info his teammates got him. And then in the post plant, the positioning behind this tiny cover of the pillar is perfect again. Notice how he always gives Brokey just a slither of something to work with while never giving away the fight unnecessarily. He eventually uses his aim to lock in the kill, but just notice how from Brokey's POV, he's never given a proper fight. He's only ever given these shoulder peeks, and that means he also constantly has to be scared that someone else might peek him from another angle. I love watching this from the opponent's POV because you guys at home are probably just getting swung on in Silver MM, but you can really feel how desperately you want that fight that ZywOo just never gives you. Those are some of the mechanical examples, but ZywOo is also a master of putting himself in his opponent's head to try and figure out what plays he can get away with making. Here, for example, after missing the first shot, this smoke goes down, and he realizes Brokey has to be scared of 2 separate angles here. And because Brokey's positioned with cover to the angle ZywOo is pushing from, he figures it's unlikely Brokey's going to be able to see this angle with his AWP, and so just sneaks in underneath the crosshair for an easy frag. Here's another amazing example of reading his opponents quickly. In this 2v2, ZywOo gets the bomb down and his teammate's gonna fall, and ZywOo is unable to get the trade, but he gets spotted. And let's pause to go through ZywOo's thought process here. He knows it makes no sense for Rain to peek from this same position alone, since he doesn't need to give away that 1v1 fight now that FaZe have the advantage. They want to work together. And he also knows it might take a second for Rain to comm this info over to his teammate. And so in an instant, he straight away starts walking to another position to try and catch an opponent off guard because he's down in a 1-on-2. That allows him to sneak up on Twist in an unexpected timing window and catch him with a molly out and land this second shot for an unreal clutch. And if we rewind and watch the whole thing in real time, it is crazy how fluid and quick his decision is to go push Twists. He clearly didn't have enough time to think about all of this ahead of time. He just had the instinct he could catch someone off guard, and he instantly put it to use. This is a masterpiece of a clutch. We also get some examples of this over on Nuke. Firstly, at the start of this round, Rops actually sneaks through Squeaky, through the smoke into main, and despite ZywOo initially covering Yard, he's still wise to this possibility and makes sure he has his pre-aim on point to get Rops out of there early. But then as the round goes on in the 3v3, Rain is pressuring Yard, spots ZywOo all the way back towards Hell, and then ZywOo repeaks and realizes Rain was just selling presents, so he instantly repositions because he knows Rain spotted him towards Hell. And that means it's going to be really difficult for FaZe to clear out some of these other angles as the round goes on, especially this cheeky angle towards the back of Garage that is notoriously hard to clear. And so because FaZe saw him in Hell previously, they overlook this position in the 3v3, and ZywOo gets easy pickings. Even you guys at home could get these kills. This one, ZywOo keeps his options open by playing Heaven, and so once Jax starts to hear this molly being thrown, he can rotate to the A site, and it's a nice first shot from this strong silo position, but then ZywOo goes out wide because Jax is holding the other angle, and this is something FaZe are never going to expect. Normally with low time like this, players would just play the strong spot on site and try and buy time. But ZywOo uses the advantage of his teammate holding the other angle to peek into unexpected players. Rops has no clue this is coming, and then it's so hard for FaZe to actually get this trade because you would never expect a player to stray out into the open and take a risk like this. It's another beautiful move from ZywOo, making sure to do the opposite of what his opponents expect to make the fights that much easier. ZywOo also uses that feel for the game to go aggressive at the right moments. In this round, we have the initial rotate down to B, which gets a solid kill and slows this approach to the B site. But then down in a 3v4, ZywOo figures he wants to take initiative back, and it's worth taking a risk here. And so he pushes back up in towards Trophy Room. And even though Rops is in hell, he wasn't watching for this re-aggression. So ZywOo gets all the way round to Hut. And this isn't even about his aim. It's about the fact it's so unexpected for him to be here that he's able to get a couple of kills and buy time for the rotate to close out the round. Fantastic stuff. You know what? Let's make up for that clip where we showed some bad aim from ZywOo with one where he has some incredible aim. Just to remind you all that he's got it. Great first shot onto Carrigan. And then at the end here, ZywOo is so quick, the game can't even keep up with these last two headshots. Oh, that is filthy. Here on Nuke, we get a similar story where, again, you get to see the composure and patience of ZywOo initially, making sure to wait for the opponent to reload, to trade his teammate through this main smoke, and then towards the end of the round, just more fantastic crosshair placement. Honestly, making it look like he's playing against bots when he's playing against some of the best players in the world, as you do. It's just a standard Saturday for ZywOo. I think that composure is a really good word for it, because when watching this pistol round, I am so sure I would have just run in like a headless chicken, trying to get these trade kills when they're not really favorable fights for me. But ZywOo knows that he's got the class and just waits for the fights to come to him, and slowly but surely dispatches of all of these players. I would pay good money to have aim like this, man, let me tell you. I also think he's got a bit better at picking his spots for when to go aggressive and to have a bit more impact in the early round. These are just a couple of examples of fairly standard early round kills, but important ones to have. If you want to be the best player in the world, you've got to have impact on all parts of the game. There is also this feeling I got when watching these demos that when ZywOo is locked in, it's almost like it comes naturally to him, and it's just the hours he's put in the game allows him to land wallbangs like this. He knows exactly where to place the shots through the smoke, pre-aims and pre-fires at the right time. I mean, it's just a feeling I'm sure I will never get, but it really feels like he is just one with the game. These are the sorts of shots I'd be screaming at my mum to get the camera and come record for me, but for ZywOo, it's just standard. He's one of these in pretty much every demo. And finally, I want to say there are obviously rounds where he is set up for the team. He's the best player on the team. He's going to be set up sometimes, specifically Apex with a couple of nice flash assists for ZywOo in these couple of rounds on Yard. And I hope this is something we get to see more of, because I think ZywOo could get unleashed more in the early rounds sometimes, but it's not his natural instinct, so he probably needs a plan like this to go for these plays more often, and when these flashes are timed right, it works out very nicely indeed. Now that you've seen why I think ZywOo is the best player in the world, why not check out my video on his teammate Spinks over here? Oh, and you made it to the end of the video, so why not throw me a cheeky sub?